When you are trying to take your draft and build it into a full argument essay, you will want to start by looking at the draft and figuring out what you have. If you followed the format I asked for, you will already have half of your final draft complete. So assuming that you do, this is an example of a draft that a student created, and it has an intro that is solid. It has background information about the topic, mostly from the student's own understanding. There is no quoted material. And then finally, there is a hypothesis, or what we call the working thesis, that ends the paragraph. So I know from the very beginning where the student stood when he started this process. Notice that this statement doesn't say anything about personal feelings, or nothing in this paragraph shows the use of the first person. That's not how this needs to be written. We know that's what you think because it's your essay. So as we go on, we have a little bit of background, and one source is cited. It is quoted directly, starting here. So then the student has provided the correct in-text citation. Notice that there are quotation marks here, open parentheses, the writer's last name of this source, and there is no page number, so there's nothing else provided, just the last name of the writer in parentheses and period. The period goes after the citation. It does not go inside the quote. Also notice that this is done wherever we see a citation. So in this case, there was actually a page number, so this is the way that is supposed to look. Now, it is perfect the way this student is presenting multiple perspectives, not just one side of the argument. So many people think this has to go into the background information here, and then there's a however to indicate here is another side of this issue. And then here's another one. There are multiple schools of thought. And then the student is actually concluding here in this draft, because they are working toward what they believe in. Now, this is the only place that you can see personal language, and that's totally fine. You don't have to have it here, but if you are going to say anything about what you feel after you have done your research, what you've actually concluded, that's what a conclusion is about, and what you recommend for others, you may use personal language, but only in the working conclusion for the draft, and then for the actual final draft in the real solid conclusion. The other thing that's important to note here is the works cited page. So a couple of things. One, it's not an annotated bibliography. Notice that this student, actually, I'll tell you, you wouldn't know because you haven't seen his annotated bibliography, but he did have these two sources in his annotated bibliography. And he just simply took out the annotations and used them in some of these body paragraphs. He used some of the annotations and formed them into paragraphs. So your annotated bibliography was not a waste of time. It's the beginning of the draft. But you don't title this annotated bibliography. You title it Works Cited, just like this student has. And you list these in alphabetical order. So Ferguson starts with an F. It goes before W for Weslow. And notice, too, that we have hanging indentions here. So that means the first line is justified to the left. The second line is hanging. It's not, you don't use the tab key for that. If you don't know how to do a hanging indentation, you will simply, in Microsoft Word anyway, you will highlight the text, right-click it, find paragraph, and you're using a special hanging indentation. Once you do it on the page, it should do the rest of them for you. But if you're copying and pasting citations, sometimes that gets messed up. So just be aware you may have to go in and do it manually for each one. So this is the draft, though, and this is student actually got about 2.5 pages, which is half of the 5-page that you need for the final draft. So let me show you some examples of a full draft. So first of all, here's one on objectivity of women in the media. And so notice that this student has their paper set up perfectly with the heading and the page number. Now I took out their actual name to protect them, but notice this title. It is not a question. It is not a long statement. It tells me what this is going to be about, but it doesn't tell me necessarily what the student thinks. I'm not giving away anything, but what you do have is proper capitalization. So you have every word that's a major word in the title capitalized, not words like of, in, or the. So anyhow, this student has taken an entire paragraph to talk about sort of the context behind people being objectified in the media. Then the one thing that I would say about this student's work that needs to be fixed, well, two things actually. One is you have the use of the second person here with you. You don't want to be doing that. It's not done throughout, but this is one example when you don't want to do it. And also this student did not properly cite the source. They put the date in here. It should have been the author's name, or if there's no author, then it would be simply the name of the website where that came from. Not the website, actually the title of the web page. So say it was song lyrics or something, then that would go in parentheses here. And then this student has taken to looking at multiple reasons why they believe what they believe. Again, this is incorrect with the date here, but the author's name is correct for that citation. But they're showing different perspectives on this and all the perspectives that sort of support what they were saying. So most of this body is comprised of perspectives on or reasons for or against whatever their working thesis statement is. That's what the body of this is. So your sources are really like whatever you would do to annotate your source with 100 to 150 words could be translated right into a body paragraph. You just have to make sure and structure it well with transitions and an introductory sentence, like a topic sentence. And you want to make sure you properly quote because that was not allowed in your annotated bibliography, no quotes. So you kind of use what you annotated, add text evidence from the source itself, and cite that, and then you have a body paragraph. So you can read through this, students. I've attached it. I believe I've attached it to the assignment, noting that the citations on this one are not all correct. There's another one that I also attached that you can look at, and this one is a little bit more recent. And this student has a very clear thesis statement here, a working thesis statement. The background, the context is really set up pretty well in this one. And then you have better citation here, more correct citation. So if you would like to look at these as a guide, I think that would be helpful. All of them, both of them are the correct length, and they both have proper works cited pages for you to help you develop. But I really want you to consider taking your annotations first and figuring out how you can make those into body paragraphs for the draft. And then for composing the full, you'll have to probably do a little bit more research, to be honest, because you're going to need more. You probably need more than 3 body paragraphs to make it to 5 pages.